And we were just talking about, I know this is a little bit off camera and stuff, or off set, but
No, you're good.
we were talking about what are the benefits of actually taking a psychedelic mushroom, or why would you want to? And to me, it's forced humility. You're going to learn quickly that you're not the most important thing in the room, or
forced humility.
Yeah, or in the forest. You're not going to be the most important thing on the block. You're not, or universe. You just learn that you're a part of everything, and that it is important to be self-aware and to take care of yourself. But that literally, the biggest job that we have is to take care of other people, to take care of things smaller than us or things that need help.
Our potential, it's exponential.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another podcast. Today, I have a very special guest, my friend Trevor Daymon, in the studio.
I like special. That's great. That's
yeah,
really
dude,
great.
You are special.
Nice.
But by the way, I want to preface this whole episode. We are going to get into some subjects that, maybe 10 years ago might have not even been talked about on the internet.
I think that's
stuff
true.
like psychedelics. Fungi, mushrooms. Psychedelic mushrooms in particular. And I just want to say, please use your discretion and be responsible,
Yeah.
because that's important. And that's what we're going to get at today. But just want to start with that intention. And we just want to talk about the truth, right? And God's creation. So I'm going to start with that. Trevor, thank you for coming today.
Hey, man, thank you. I really appreciate it. I love that lead in on the God's creation part, because to me, we shouldn't even be talking about anything unless that were true. We're not out here recommending or saying something's negative about any of these things. What we're saying is this medicine exists outside. It's been ceremonially and historically used for thousands and thousands of years without people having any problems, but it's used as tools.
It's beneficial. So talk a little bit about that. Maybe, I don't know if it is exactly scientifically proven, but what are some of those things that it provides as a tool?
Well, if you're talking psychedelics, completely, there's a huge, vast array of these things. You know what I mean? And they all have, I think, completely different effects. So
different energies.
The ones that you can forage, which is kind of what we're talking about today, rather than synthesize or do something else with, those are ones that I think are available to us on purpose, and that's why they're easily found outside.
Think so? The ones that are made in labs.
The same as you find fruit,
because they're making money off of it too.
And that's the only way. That's the only way that they really have ever been used, either by the pharmaceutical companies, is until a point that they can make a profit off of it.
So we're getting it. But by the way, today we're talking about what the other side of it, which is foraging these things. Yeah, which is amazing. Talk about it a little bit.
We're really lucky to live in an area that I studied specifically psilocybe cubensis for my whole life. I cultivated it. I did all kinds of all the research since I was a little kid up until now.
Cubensis, which is psychedelic mushrooms.
Yeah, it's the most commonly found.
The most common one. There's other ones.
When you go to a party and someone says, "I have shrooms," this is the one, because it's easily cultivated. It's hard to mess it up. But it also naturally occurs here in Florida, everywhere. It is literally everywhere that you go. One time I found a psilocybin cubensis mushroom growing out of a piece of sod we were throwing down. It was just growing out. Wow. I work, in the nursery industry.
Yeah, you do landscaping too, man.
Yeah. But they're just everywhere. So to find
the piece of sod at your nursery.
Yeah, absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's been known since high school that you go out to the cow pastures, they're out there.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just it's growing out here.
Yep, especially when you're talking with locals. I've only been around here for 4 or 5 years, but I lived in Hawaii too. And in Hawaii, they're very common also. And the thing is, they're common not just in cow pastures. They also grow in people's lawns. They grow everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I think it's
fungi. It's part of
really fun.
The kingdom. It is fun.
But go ahead. I
want to just bring it up because we're just keep mentioning it naturally grows here, right? And it makes you just think, and it's always just, I guess what I'm trying to say is, if it was growing so naturally here and it has all these amazing effects, is a tool, what's the big stigma we have with it? Do you think it's Like, why do we grow up and say like, hush, hush, it's taboo, or don't do that, or
right, the field itself.
and it's not really like, it's not like, hey, I was never, at least when I was growing up, like taught like as a guide, like no shaman went to me and was like, hey, this is how it's done.
Right.
You know, no shaman went to me and said, this is how it's done. And I just, you know, thankfully have had, you know, experiences with people who've shown me the way.
Right. And that's
which is key.
way.
But what I'm trying to say is, in my mind, when I was growing up, things are good and things are bad.
Yeah.
And the truth is, that's not really the truth.
Yeah.
It just is.
If that were true, the ones that told us that these things were really terrible to use, they're going to mess up your whole life, they're going to alter how you permanently are for the whole, all of those things came from, first, the government, and secondly, from the medical community. And those are the two people who stand to benefit the least if this medicine actually works and is freely available.
Interesting.
So why wouldn't they tell us that this is off the charts, scary stuff? Why wouldn't they make it seem that way? So the truth is, you're never going to actually know at all, just like with most things in life as you grow up, unless you somehow are attracted to it and you try it. And my whole thing with psychedelics is, if you're seeking it out, you will never find it. You will never find it at all. But if it's something that is supposed to come in your life, because I believe in like this universal vibe thing. I looked for DMT for like 36 years before I ever saw it in person. And it grows. You can make it from almost anything around that's plant material.
Wow, from plants.
So to actually see it at this one moment in my life, which would take a long time to explain, but it literally appeared in front of me at that stage. And it also had the most profound spiritual effects at that time. If I would have found it any other time, it would have been like probably an abuse or a misuse or just didn't matter type of thing.
Yes.
But the truth is, it happened to me at exactly a moment where I needed to see that there was something else out there that was, you know, that combined all of us and all the things on this reality that we exist in. They're all the same thing. Everything's the same thing. And at that point in my life, I didn't understand that. So that's just one chemical compound. There's many, many other ones that are very powerful that have their uses, but they all have a different type of use. So
it's interesting what you're saying, though. If you seek it out, it's like it's going to evade you.
Yeah, it's going to
because you're like being too,
Yeah.
But it finds you almost when you're ready, you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's my experience, too. I wouldn't, you know. I wasn't seeking it out. Anyways, I have my own relationship with it and experiences with it, and it's like evolved like since I was, you know, when I was a little shithead in middle school, didn't know anything about anything, you know.
Someone says they have 8 shrooms and you eat the whole thing while you're at school, and just, you know, you hear people's crazy stories about this stuff, and the truth is, it's a medicine. It really is, especially if you have,
bro.
You know,
and like we're just saying, and by the way, the definition of a medicine, there's like the difference between a medicine and something that's a poison is dosage, right?
Yeah, dosage. Really?
Why aren't we taught that?
Vitamin.
Right?
Look up the overuse of vitamin B and the causes that it has. It's incredible. It's worse than any drug I've ever heard of.
Really?
But it will rot you out from the inside. But it's in every energy drink you drink. And it's overprescribed. So now you're getting hundreds of thousands of times more of this daily value that you're supposed to have.
Is that right? It's in those energy
and you're buying
drinks?
it at the gas station. So what I'm recommending is very small dosages of things that you can find literally outside that grew in your garden next to your stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A healthy alternative to this thing. And I'm not also, to make it super clear, not advocating the use of psychedelics unless you have a certain set of things going on or a certain purpose. They're not something to just smush a whole bunch into your mouth and see what happens, because you're going to have a bad day. Might have a bad month.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right. Yeah, so, talk about that a little bit. It's not just something casual. It's something that's like it's going to show you something.
Yeah, to me, that's extremely true. So I got involved in like the rave community way early, like late 90s. Like I was like 14 years old. You know what I mean? 14, 15. I was around all kinds of like.
You're hardcore.
Well,
Trevor's hardcore,
I used
guys.
to be extremely hardcore, and I was around ketamine, all the people that sold it. That's how I thought I was gonna, pay for art school.
Right.
At one point, I started going to all these crazy parties, and my life basically dissolved because of that. So,
rave culture.
Yeah, I'll basically. Yeah. I will be one of the first people to tell you it's a really bad idea to get caught up in a party scene of any type, but especially when you're messing with psychedelics, because you don't really notice the impact quite as hard. Psychedelic people that use psychedelics are usually going to be a little bit more gentle and stuff. But the truth is, if they're fucked, I don't know if I can say that on this podcast. Yeah. Can I swear in here?
Yeah.
If they're fucked up people, they're going to be fucked up doing no matter what it is that they're doing. And it doesn't matter, drugs, business, family life, too much church. It could be anything in an extreme amount. And they'll be fucked up people because they'll find a way to be fucked up people in that field that they're comfortable expressing themselves way too much inside of. So to me, psychedelics is more of a tool for if you're trying to, because the whole goal here, and I think the reason that we're even like doing this podcast or doing this organic farming and trying to teach people about how to grow their own food is because this is a thing that builds up and out, and it supports other people and helps them to heal too. So psychedelics is this mini tiny window inside of that whole lifestyle where you're trying to really make an impact or, share the right, this is miracle berry, it will help you in this way. This is,
it's
aloe, it's going to help you. Maybe
yeah.
you can drop your psoriasis stuff, try this aloe mix. And
that is why we're doing it too, by the way, exactly, to share with each other.
Yeah, so if me recommending to somebody that has PTSD, you might want to try microdosing and see if it alters your thing. You know what I mean? It may be something to consider because the alternative is being on huge amounts of antidepressants, disassociatives, antipsychotics, all these things that you might possibly not even need by just not even tripping, but taking a little tiny small version of that and see if it affects your daily life, if it makes things easier.
Dude, exactly. And what you're talking about, by the way, for people who are like freaked out, like, oh, am I going to like just see stars and freak out and like have no control? You're talking about microdosing, right? It's like,
exactly.
It's where it's just subtle, like a little enhancement.
Yeah, I think if we were talking about the How to Get Fucked Up on Psychedelics podcast, we would be able to fill about 8 hours of totally different material than what I think we're shooting for here.
But you know what I'm saying, right? The microdose. I just wanted to bring that up. Like, how is that changed the game for you? Do you do that at all? Like,
I do microdose. I wouldn't say it's really hard, especially when other people are going to listen to this and da. You want to give the clearest information possible, but also make it very realistic. I would say I microdose, once a month, let's say, to 2 times a month. Yeah, something like that. There might be 2 months in there where I just don't touch anything at all. Yeah. But on average, like when
and it's not something you want to do like right after, right?
Yeah, I think that's your biggest call into like any of the actual effective things that help your mind. If you're taking any stuff, I don't care if it's alcohol, food, whatever it is, you're taking it, you're eating, you're consuming it, and then within another hour, you want more of that same thing, even though you were full or you already felt like you were intoxicated. That thing is bad for you. You know what I'm saying? That's an addictive, terrible thing. And the cool thing with, not just psilocybe cubensis, but peyote. Peyote is another one. And I say peyote, but I really mean ornamental cactuses that you can buy from any garden store.
It's literally a cactus plant. Yeah. People don't know. Yeah.
It is true though. Yeah. Like these things they're not illegal for a reason because you're not just going to accidentally walk out and buy something from Home Depot and then somehow you're tripping balls. You know what I mean? There's a reason that it's like that. But those things, they're never something that you're going to use more than maybe once a year. Maybe, in a microdose, now you're talking about you're not even tripping. You're using this as something that makes your mood more brilliant. It makes your conversation abilities more creative for a little while. You're about to go sit down and do, your essay for your thing, or you're about to make a painting. Yeah. I'm going to take a little microdose, as long as the situation's good. I'm going to microdose a little bit before I go and grab my paints, and I'm going to put some music on. Music is another drug. Do you paint, by the way? Yeah, I do. I like to do some kind of like,
that's amazing.
Not just psychedelic stuff, but like, and detail tech pen stuff. But if I'm trying to come up with a new idea or a new approach to a problem, a very tiny version of the same dosage is like a little window into that same thing.
No, it's cool. It's like
without having the life-altering effects.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a little window into that. Yeah. Little thinking brilliantly.
Yeah.
And creatively. Yeah. But no, you're right. It is a mind expander. That's what we're talking about. Like, which is pretty incredible. And it comes from, like, there's even theories, like, I don't know, what's your theory on this whole stoned ape theory?
Yeah.
Where it came from
Terrence
outer
McKenna.
space, another realm or some other, what do you think about that? And then it was here, and then, like, was it, like, seeded here, or was it just random? Like,
all I know is the facts behind it are accurate. You know, that thing can travel through space if it wants to and still live somewhere else.
Okay.
But I mean, we're learning more and more. I
the
guess
stoned ape theory is that it came from another planet, like another world.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about, that, like, people are actually like, yeah, that could be.
I don't want to, like, blow your mind either, but, like, I come from a Bible background, and a lot of people that are Christians will tell you that aliens don't exist. And if you look in Genesis chapter 6, it literally says beings from another planet came down and they interacted with human females, and that created a different race. Nowadays, we call that hybridization or whatever.
Yeah.
But for someone that's a Christian to say that they don't believe in aliens is insane. They absolutely do. It's in the first book of their book. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Nephilim, right?
So, the rest of it's just an expansion on all of this stuff. I believe things were all created on purpose, and regardless of how they managed to be here, they were created. They didn't exist on accident. And so that's like what I kind of was trying to get to with the stuff that we're talking about with the medicine you can find in your own yard. So we're talking about for Southeast Florida, 2 different species if you're going for mushrooms. That's psilocybin cubensis, most commonly cultivated, most recognized for dosage, pretty hard to mess with even the chemical content inside of it. And then the other one is something I don't think most people recognize, which is a panolis. Or paneolus. It depends on where you got taught that word.
But that's
from.
the Latin.
And it's
cool.
It's a paneolus sciensis, and it grows in like a little short straight tube. You can look that up on your own, because going into it will just be burning time. But the fact is,
little skinny boys.
Yeah, they grow in the lawn. They grow, and there's tons of other ones too. So
what color are they? Like brown.
Everything kind of looks like a different version of these type that we're talking about of a psilocybin cubensis, but one has a stipe and one or a veil, and the other one doesn't on the neck of it. But you can always tell the same thing by when you pick it. It will look just very similar but smaller, and it will turn blue. Anywhere that you crush it or you do something to it on the stem, it's going to immediately blue. And I'm not talking blacken. I'm talking blue. Turns blue.
Yeah, bruises when it bruises.
Yeah, so that's what I think is interesting, is that those things grow literally 3/4 of the year in almost everybody's yard. If you're near a farm, they grow prolifically on the farm, around
I'm not gonna say
type of animal.
I'm not gonna say it happened or if it didn't happen, but I have seen and possibly allegedly
may have come across these
on some job sites literally down the street from my house. So yeah. These exact. I was like, what's that? You know? It's like just like planting bananas.
Yep. There's also like local parks around state land that has cows on it. Anything that has cows on it that you can freely walk, you're gonna find these things.
Cow
They're everywhere.
pastures. And I'm being so stupid and like beating around the bush. I don't know why I'm doing it, because it is good stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is.
Yeah, it's
but
good
like
stuff.
it has a stigma, so I'm just trying to like talk about it.
Well, you're also trying
mad,
to not, it's mushroom hunting, so you're not trying to give up your locate spots, and you're not trying to. That's for food mushrooms. That's for any type of mushroom. You can talk to somebody and ask them where do you find morels over here. They're going to tell you the other side of the state, because you're not supposed to find where they're picking their morel mushrooms.
People are very sneaky and hidden about their spots, aren't they?
The cool thing about these is
which is cool. I get.
Yeah.
There's levels to it, right?
Yeah.
You want to protect it. People care about it.
Yeah. And you're not going to harm it by picking it. That's another nice thing. It's sort of like your mulberry tree or something like that. You're just going out and harvesting the fruit that's already there. You've done nothing. You're just out.
So is that what you're saying? You cut it back and it comes right back?
Yeah, well, the way that I've found them the most often, I'm out foraging for other stuff. I'm looking for boletes. I'm looking for Florida oysters, like all kinds of stuff that naturally grows here. And then bam,
cook them up.
Yeah, and then bam, all of a sudden there's some psychedelic mushrooms in front of me. So what I'm saying is,
Kathy was just asking the person just on the podcast before you. She's like, "Man, we need mushrooms," and literally you're in here talking about
there are naturally out there. Yeah.
Wow.
So the thing is, you're looking at mushroom ID too and all that stuff. The safest way to do it is to grow your own stuff. That's lion's mane, reishi mushrooms, all kinds of stuff. Reishi grows naturally out here. You can find them all over the place. You're just looking for ravines and different things per your mushroom. But what I think would be a great thing at the end of this is if it got people excited that you can go out and find some really fine ingredients, porcini level mushrooms and stuff like that you can
in the wild.
Yeah,
like
in
just
the
on your way to the
of your lawn too. You know what I mean?
Beach. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, so tell people about that. And by the way, you made a good point. We just took a little intermission. We're ready for part 2, which is amazing.
Yeah,
but you made a good point. I don't know if you mentioned it before about like how it shouldn't start with psychedelics, the foraging mission, right?
I really
at the end of the day. What do you think about that?
When you're foraging, you're looking for food and medicine. That is the definite. These are two things that aren't water. You need food and you need medicine sometimes. So that's what I think the main goal should be, is not just to learn how to go find 2 kinds of psychedelic mushrooms in your yard. Learn the entire food group. Learn everything that's out there. There's berries, there's leaves. There's one of the coolest things I found when I first moved to Florida. There's a plant called American Beauty, and it has these weird little purple berries on it that are just shockingly psychedelic purple, and they don't taste that great. Yeah, you can eat them, and they have a sweetness to them. I heard people make wine and some other stuff.
You can eat them,
but you can literally, while you're getting attacked by mosquitoes and no-see-ums because you're out in the woods, you can grab the leaves of that and wipe it on your face and hands, and the bugs are gone.
That's right.
It has some I think they're called catechins, but it's
a native bush.
Yeah, and you can't store the chemical either. You could try to extract that or do whatever you want to, and it will degrade very quickly over time.
You're
but the bush is right there. So
I love that about living plants. Exactly.
So I think that's
it's less intrusive. It's not being processed and shipped from wherever they get from, right? It's like this is growing everywhere.
Right. And they're also trying to sell you these things at a lot of nurseries and a lot of other, this stuff's outside. It's already there. Half the stuff
you
go
see them on the trails.
All of this stuff exists in nature already.
We could put pics too. It'd be cool. Beauty. Yeah,
it would be
berries.
Cool. We should throw some up of, like, we could do the mushroom hands over here. It looks like that.
So tell people about it. You were just getting into the lands of those. Like, what are some other things that excite you? Because you're right. It's the whole spectrum of food and medicine, and it's tuning into that. What else excites you about that?
Foraging in general.
Yeah.
I think that and I hate to ever bring up COVID ever, because that makes me shut off a podcast when somebody starts talking about it. But we all went through this thing where
we did.
You went into a store and half the crap was gone, and they tried to completely change your mind about not only that you couldn't trust stuff from the outside, you couldn't shake people's hands, you couldn't pick fruit.
It was weird.
You couldn't do anything, and I don't like humankind that much. I think that most of the information we're being fed is pretty much lies in order to profit off of us or to control us.
It does need to be said. Everyone likes to talk about it, but you're exactly right.
Yeah,
we had
foraging, I take that power back. You know what I'm saying?
We take that power back.
I take that power back. If I need medicine, I do this research, and I read my farmer's almanac, and I go through my foraging books, and I watch videos on YouTube about people that are actually doing it.
Yeah.
I hang out with people that have their own gardens and that have their own chickens and have their own cows. And I have literally been a part of the farm to a degree where, okay, that's the lamb, and you feed that lamb for 6 months or something, and then someone has to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a comfortable thing, but that's how it really is. That's how really life is. You don't just go to McDonald's and buy a chicken and think that wasn't a chicken.
Yeah.
It's a different thing when you have to kill the chicken. Nobody wants to talk about that stuff, but
I appreciate you. I would keep cutting you off, but I appreciate you because that I wanted to have growers on like that, like people who have like stewarded the land and knows what it takes.
It's a responsibility to continue to do that, not just to grow stuff and.
It's humbling.
It
big
really
time.
Is. And we were just talking about, I know this is a little bit off camera and stuff or off set, but
no, you're good.
We were talking about what are the benefits of actually taking a psychedelic mushroom, or why would you want to? And to me, it's forced humility. You're going to learn quickly that you're not the most important thing in the room, or
forced humility.
Yeah, or in the forest. You're not going to be the most important thing on the block. You're not, or universe. You just learn that you're a part of everything, and that it is important to be self-aware and to take care of yourself. But that literally, the biggest job that we have is to take care of other people, to take care of things smaller than us or things that need help. So that's, I think it's
looking
more of a lifestyle.
that way in that lens, bro. Because there are a bunch of shitheads out there that could use a little dosage and shut. Like, what'd you say? You're like, man, first time you take your mushrooms, you shut your mouth for a week.
Yep. First time you
it's
take
humbling.
too many mushrooms, you're not going to talk for a week.
Right.
You will, but you'll talk very quietly, and you'll think a lot less of yourself.
So it is medicine. It is powerful, man. These are spirits. Like a lot of people talk about it. Like we shouldn't even really mention that to have this whole podcast unless we mention our ancestors and the ancient indigenous people who really work with these plants.
Yeah, and for long documented periods of time.
So for sure, and like just like respecting that, they would talk about them as if they're like spirits. They're their own entity. So it's like just having that reverence for it, you know, the whole way through.
I think if you've ever done more than one type of psychedelic, you can completely tell that there's a different character and different traits within each version of whatever you would consider to be a psychedelic. Mushrooms to me are definitely the ones that they don't really care who you are. They're going to show you what they can show you, and they're going to show you that you are a small part of a much, much, much larger thing. But it's a humbling experience, you know, where I think there's some other stuff
like it'll show you that.
Yeah, the cactus stuff is going to tell you that same thing, but it's going to show you the brilliance of how large life is and how you're an intricate part of a vastly intricate machine. Instead of just you thinking, oh, I'm over here figuring out my problems or something.
Separateness, right?
You're allowed to breathe just like the grass, just like the sky is allowed to carry a cloud, and you're just doing your job was here on this place that you were put.
So what are some things that, you know, psychedelics have done for you, benefits?
I mean,
maybe like
I think I was introduced to them at different periods of time and then had no interaction with them for, you know, a decade in between some of these things, you know? Mm-hmm. So, like, I wouldn't describe my life as that. I've always been involved in psychedelics.
Yeah, thanks for the context,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
because it's not something I did, like, growing up or anything.
Yeah,
it is a
hitting
recent
acid super heavy for 10 years straight or something.
And it does find you. Like, it's not something I'd go run and do. Like, it is good to premise that.
But I would say...
for sure.
Yeah, each one of those things, to me, my takeaway is that it can alter your life. It can be like, extremely beautiful or... not just enlightening, but it will help you look inside yourself to a degree that I think takes probably extreme forms of meditation to get into. And instead of learning that meditation and going through all these steps over the years, you can take it in a very small little amount and have a very, very similar experience almost immediately. So my takeaway from all of it is it taught me how to appreciate things. Like, appreciate the situation that I'm in, appreciate who I am as a person, and appreciate why I should make changes so I could be my best self, if that makes sense. Because otherwise, I'm with never having had ego death in my life, I'm an extremely narcissistic kind of smasher person. I'll push through a group of people to get what I want at the end. Yeah. And I think I've learned over time and through literally extremely outside sources humbling me, you know what I mean, that this is not the reality. So I would say my takeaway is that I got to learn how to be humble and to actually interact with other living beings, people, and communities around me, where before I didn't care at all about any of that stuff. Yeah. Even if I was saying that on the outside, oh, I care, I was still trying to get to the top of whatever that group was. You know, when I was a Jehovah's Witness, I wanted to be a minister. When I was a construction guy, I got to be a project estimator for on $6 million projects and stuff. Every time I got to one of those levels, I threw that I just destroyed it and ran away. You know what I mean? Self-sabotage.
Yeah. What do you think that is?
I think that your goals were wrong in the first place. Why are you trying to be up there? It's the same.
Hijacking.
Look at people that try to make money like that, bro. You know?
This is good. We got to bring it grounded down to earth, because we go hard and you've just been through it. You're right. It's goal hijacking, right? Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
I think
goals. That's a good answer.
Somebody else calls it sabotage. You know what I mean? You're just trying to peek out so that you can sabotage yourself to make sure everyone else saw it, or to you know what I mean. It's all ego stuff. So that's why I like mushrooms. You're gonna take a little bit heavy of a dose of mushrooms. You're gonna come back ego depleted. You're gonna interact properly with your surrounding community.
How can I contribute to this organism?
Exactly.
How can I,
not just that, but how do I take care of myself where I'm not such an asshole? You know what I mean? How do I not be an asshole?
Yeah.
So, and that's what's cool. And any of these ones that we've talked about, DMT, mescaline, they're just, the list goes. I mean, people even throw ketamine and stuff in there. But the truth is, if you're just using those for no good reason, it doesn't matter. That's a party thing. If you're going in with intention, you know, I don't take mushrooms without praying first. I'll be straight up.
Facts.
I literally, everything I'm asking a blessing, I'm saying I want to understand, or I go in because I have problems, you know. I'm feeling this way in my life and I feel stuck and I can't figure a way out of it, or if I'm supposed to view it differently. That's when I take mushrooms.
Yeah.
Or I'll take, you know, I'll go hang out with some friends that they, you know, take acid or something. But I go into it like shamanic style. I'm not going in to party and have fun. I'm going in because I want to learn something. And that's where I think if there's any hope inside of it, that's where the hope is. The hope is in trying to change yourself to be better to whatever's around you, to be more imitative of the quality of love, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's very heart opening.
Yeah.
It's man.
Because most of us need to get smashed like that, bro. You know what I mean? We need a fucking somebody or a car accident is for some people, you know, everything's on top.
Because it's not a thing. It's just a good like distinction to make, because that's what I'm trying to get at. It's like what you're saying is you pray before every time you do it.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
Real like,
I would never take. In fact, because you know stories from people that have done them without, you know, just with no good intention at all. I just ate a handful of mushrooms, and you hear these horror stories and stuff. Bro,
because there's no intention. There's just
you're also like, I think throwing yourself to the wolves. You're so miserable or something that you're just willing to. I mean, who would do that with a bottle of aspirin? I'm not gonna, you know, I got a headache. I'm trying to fix something. Not that's a lack of concern or what do they call that? It's reckless abandon.
Okay,
you know, you don't really care what happens. You gave up. I'm past the point in my life where I would feel like I ever gave up. I would definitely feel like I'm living with purpose.
Let's go.
I have so much that I want to do for the people around me and for not just locally around me, but and also the other thing psychedelics teach you is that in 80 years you're dead, and they're probably not writing a book about you. You know what I mean? They're probably not. So that means right now counts. You know, it means right now counts.
Because they're not. We're doing this podcast, which is lit, which will last long, but probably this will go away sometime.
Everything
Who
goes
cares?
away. One day.
That's what the mushrooms teach you. For sure.
I think that's also like having these conversations about these type of things too. It's not just psychedelics is not one tool. It's a tool inside of a massive toolbox of things to work on yourself.
And it's definitely not the end all be all. Like honestly, like you were just getting at it earlier. It's through breath work and meditation, like you could literally get to the point where you're feeling these things and tuning into these frequencies.
And there's also people who meditation, that's not the thing that's actually going to help them. You know what I mean? It's the attitude thing. It has nothing. But there are other people, same thing. Meditation's the ultimate medicine. You know, yoga class isn't for everybody, but for some people, it gets them out of the house. All of a sudden, they're different people. They're doing something with it, you know.
It transforms.
And you can go on and on.
Dude, you're exactly right. It's
not every medicine is for every person, you know.
And I love what you mentioned earlier. I just want to go back to that. The reckless, like abandon, like you're not going to take a bunch of like Tums or something, you know, or like something weird. Like you're gonna go to it when it's like a piece on your cabinet, the mushrooms.
I would definitely say if you're the type of person that you feel like you're unsure of who you are, if you feel like you're going through some major things in your life that you can't control, you know, you're getting a divorce, your job just changed, probably not the night to eat a bunch of mushrooms. You know what I mean? Probably not.
Yes.
But if you are working on yourself and you're in a pattern of increasing your health per month, per week, you know, definitely that's something you could look into if you're trying to expand in a spiritual way, as long as you approach it with intention and prayer. I think then it's a positive thing. But if you're just at some party and someone has a big pile of something, it doesn't really matter what the pile of stuff is. It's a bad idea.
That's right. Just like going out to a show and just like, and it's a city or something. Yeah, it's not the move.
Yeah. Especially if you got other stuff going on. Man, I just got invited to the Caverns. Oh my God.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, Pretty Lights is playing like the Caverns. He came back after like 5 years. Massive, super cool show.
Cool, man.
I want to go so bad. And I'm like, bro, my responsibilities, my life that I voluntarily love to do and be responsible for would suffer for that. So like now
that's mature, man. I feel
that. You know.
I live out on the farm too. I value.
Like, fucking gone, bro.
Me too. I value. It's so weird. I guess it's
find
just
my way back home. You know?
Yeah.
No.
Like, dude, I love all that stuff too. I love music. I go into town, but it's like I value being out on the just quiet. Yeah. Like out, stars.
Yeah.
All of it, man.
There's a lot to, they say the opposite of addiction is connectedness. So it's not really, I think addiction is just a good word to use for what most people's problems are. It doesn't matter what you're addicted to. It's either yourself, or it's some kind of intoxicants, or it's your work,
or some sort of pattern.
Whatever it is, yeah, that's 90% of your life. Whatever that is, you're addicted to that, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's what you think about before you go to sleep, and when you wake up,
it's not
you're addicted to it. It doesn't matter
man.
what it is.
They say work addiction, right? Is that the thing?
So you have to be connected to other people. And that means if you really believe in that, that means you have to reach out to other people you're trying to be connected to also.
Yeah.
Because it's really easy to think you're connected to shit because you're on Facebook or something.
No.
You're not. That means going out, interacting with your friends. When your friends need something, going and showing up. You know? Nobody does that anymore.
You're exactly right, bro. Yeah. Connectedness. But that's why so many people are like depressed and don't know what they want to do, and they're like fucking RH. They should be amped like you. You're talking about purpose and meaning, and you got shit to do.
Doing here?
Yeah, bro.
Otherwise, I'm sitting watching The Office reruns.
But it's exactly, and this is dude. But that's not. You're right. That's not connectedness.
Yeah. All I know is when I actually get to that point where I'm looking back and I don't have options about what I can do more that way. It's all in the back stuff. I don't want to ever go back and go, I turned down that fishing trip because I just wanted to work that weekend, or I just didn't think, I thought it was too much to like get ready for the boat, or to, you know what I'm saying? That had to happen to me.
Let's get up and go fishing, dude.
A very close friend who you know as well invited me out, and my first thought was, I'm so busy, this is my first day off. And then I was like, do I really want to look back on this and go, I went fishing or I didn't go fishing? I'm going fishing, you know. If it's whatever it is, whatever.
Me too. Let's go. By the way,
let's go to
Let's go. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
And by the way, you're inspiring me because my boy Bernie hit me up. He's like, let's send it on another trip.
Yeah, bro. So it's easy to get trapped up when you're this busy. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, dude, but I really appreciate your perspective and coming on. And
I appreciate it. I appreciate that we didn't have to talk about way too much Jehovah's Witness stuff. If you want a fast one, I'll give you a fast one. Yeah.
I mean, there's more I want to talk about, dude.
We just do session 2. We'll just do session 2.
Dude, because, that's it, man. Is there anything you want to tell the people before we bounce out of here?
I guess just whatever we talked about today, take it with responsibility if you're going to interact with the information. Because it's not coming from a place of trying to get you to do something. It's offering another alternative and telling you probably shouldn't buy that stuff from stores.
Yeah.
You should either make your own, whatever it is that we're talking about. Wine. I don't care if it's wine, mushrooms, if it's whatever. If you're trying to find some kind of medicine, you should find a way to find that yourself, either in nature or to make it yourself. Stop supporting corporations. Stop supporting pharmaceutical companies, and don't vote ever. Don't support the government and don't pay your taxes.
Got you, dude. I love this fucking dude. We're not gonna leave with that, bro. No, wait. I love you because you're so radical. We're radical, or whatever that is. Like, dude, can we talk? Can I say, like, dude, why? Because by the way, we're both on that level where it's like, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. Like, everything was bullshit we were taught as a kid and all this stuff. You know. Sure. So let's talk about that, bro. You just wait. Don't even vote. You don't just totally libertarian.
I was adding the last 3 things in for effect, if that makes sense. I do believe that all those things are necessary for a reason. But
all right.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be a funny clip, unless we went back over it. So now it's not that funny anymore.
No, it's all good. It's not. I fucking took it literal.
I'm just joking, bro. No, it's
great.
Pretty cool.
I just wanted the people to hear about your take. I think it's cool. I think it's rad.
Well, I guess what I would say, without making too long of a story of it, you're gonna get born somewhere, and whatever that is not something that you chose. So if you ever feel in your heart that you don't match the circumstances you were born into, don't ever feel like you can't leave that situation.
Facts.
You can. Because
you don't, but some people say you chose that. You don't,
I don't believe in predetermination by any means.
I know, it's hard to
predetermination. The only reason that would be attractive to anyone is because it absolves them of responsibility for the dumb shit they do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, God made me do it, or the religion, or the government told me I had to go into the army. Bro, no. You always got your own 2 feet, and you can always walk the other way. Always.
I guess what I'm saying, but what you're saying is powerful. Everyone's born into something.
Yeah, you are. But
what are you gonna do?
What you allow will continue, and that includes your family. That includes your religious organization, it includes your school, it includes your business. You literally are allowed to be a human being your entire life. I don't care if you have 8 million sitting in the bank. If you hate your job and you don't care about your money because it's not making you happy anymore, walk away. Walk away from it. Like, make the choice. Go somewhere.
Yeah, choose your destiny.
Yeah, bro. None of this material stuff's ever going to result in happiness. Never.
Yeah, man. So let's take the fishing trip.
Yeah, let's do it. I like that.
Trevor, you're the best. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for having me on, man. Really fun.
Thank you, guys.
I had a really great time.
Yeah, good.
We're in the garden. It's existential.